welcome back to the Wildflower Magic Knits YouTube channel. I am your host, Katie. I'm coming to you from upstate New York, where I live with my lovely partner, Ellen, our 2 large dogs, and our 2 cats. I have captions on all my videos for accessibility purposes, and YouTube allows you to speed me up or slow me down if I talk too fast or knit too slow for your preferences. Today's video is going to be a project vlog. I am casting on something new. If you've been here before, then you might have seen that I did Vlogtober, and then you haven't seen me since then. That is because I started a new job towards the end of October, and it sucked the life out of me. It was an overnight position at a mental health facility. However, so the overnights were rough because I'm very much a morning person. Being asleep during the day did not sit well with me. But more than that, I had like zero job satisfaction, like negative job satisfaction, because the position was not really mental health related. It was like nurses' aid, so it was for aspiring nurses. And that is not me, and so I was not really doing mental health stuff, which is my background. My background is in mental health, specifically like behavioral health and crisis. I was not doing any of that. I was just doing jobs that nurses didn't want to do. And so I had like zero job satisfaction. It was overnights. It just kind of like sucked the life out of me, and I usually only got like 1 day off in a row at a time, which is not enough time for me to recharge, do anything that I love, and take care of anything that I have to take care of. So I was miserable. The long and short of it is that I was miserable, and it took away all of my creativity. It took away my desire to like hang out with my friends. Like my social life was just non-existent. And all of my hobbies were just on the back burner. I really didn't knit, embroider, like I did nothing during this time. I slept, I went to work, and that was pretty much it. So I left that job after being super unhappy for a few months. I left that job pretty quickly. I've been off since Christmas. It's the beginning of January. I think today's the 10th, maybe. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. I've been off since Christmas, and I've kind of just been I've been on a journey to feel like myself again, and I've kind of been waiting for that spark of creativity to come back, and she's finally here. She has graced us with her presence. My creative energy is back in full force, and so we are now fanning that spark into a flame. So we are casting on a new project. I do have a new job. I'm starting at the end of January, so I'm off for a little bit longer, and then I'm in an office daytime hours job doing case management again, which is something that I really, really love and find a lot of satisfaction in. So until then, another really big life update. I started my master's program on the 6th, so I have been steadily working through my first week of the quarter. I'm getting my master's in social work, so I started that. So I will be balancing a full-time case management job, which will be pretty involved, pretty detailed, pretty demanding, I guess, during my working hours, and then also doing my master's program. So we're taking advantage of the slow and steady while we can, and we're starting a new project. So let's get on to the project, shall we? I am casting on the Moon Set Pullover by Ozetta. This is a pattern that has been in my library, and I have had yarn dedicated for this project for a while, so I'm really excited to get this cast on and get started with it. For those of you who don't know, I have been tracking my yarn in and yarn out for the last year, so every month my goal was to just use more yarn than I brought in, and I succeeded with that. I want to say a little more than half of the year, a little more than 6 months of the year, but I would have to look at my notes and like actually determine how well I did, but I feel like I did all right. And I'm going to continue doing that this year. I'm going to continue tracking my yarn in versus my yarn out, just with the goal, we're not going on a yarn buying ban or anything, but just my goal of being more mindful of my purchases, first of all, and making sure that I'm buying yarn that I do want to use and that I am going to want to use in the future. And also not just impulse buying, which I guess goes into like mindfulness, but just using more yarn than I bring in. I am also going to start tracking my patterns. So last year, I feel like I might have replaced impulse buying yarn with impulse buying patterns, and my pattern library grew a lot last year. So this year, I am going to be tracking how many patterns I buy versus how many I use, but I also have a little bit of a goal to use a certain number of patterns before I buy new ones, and I like to do kind of like low, medium, and high goals. So my low goal is to knit 2 patterns before I buy a new one. My medium is 5 patterns and my high is 10 patterns. So I'm just gonna kind of be keeping track of that throughout the year as well. So it's really exciting to start off the new year with yarn that I've had in stash set aside for the specific project and a pattern that I already have in my library. So the Moon Set Pullover by Ozetta. I am doing the 5th size. I'm kind of in between sizes. I believe the 5th size corresponds with a 42-inch bust and the 6th size corresponds with a 46-inch bust. However, the pattern calls for 12.75 inches of positive ease, and I do not like that much positive ease, so I opted to go down. That'll take out 2 inches of positive ease. And also, my gauge on the US 7 needles, my stitch gauge was pretty bang on, but my row gauge was way off, so I went down to a 6, but my stitch gauge is still pretty, I haven't blocked it, but my stitch gauge is still pretty on point, and my row gauge is still off, but it's a little bit better. So if my stitch gauge went down a little bit when I switch needles, it's fine. It'll just give me a little bit less positive ease. It's not, I don't even think it went down like a whole stitch. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of math, a little bit of gauge math, a little bit of knitting math, mostly just on the front, I believe. So it's a drop shoulder construction, so I'll work on the back a little bit, and then I'm just gonna knit to measurements on the back instead of rows. And then on the front, I will have to do a little bit of math to change the increase rate, just because I can't knit as many rows as is called for in the pattern, or it's not gonna, my armholes are gonna be way down here, which I will not wear. So I have to be mindful of that, but I don't think that'll be too difficult to change. And then everything else, I'm just gonna knit to measurements instead of paying attention to my row count. That should be the only place that it really matters. I am considering doing a little bit of waist shaping. I'll kind of see when I get there. I'll try it on and see. Hi, Embers. I'll try it on and see when I get there. Okay, can you like... But we might do a few decreases. I'm also not positive what I'm gonna do with the sleeves just yet. I believe the pattern, you're just knitting the sleeves straight, I think, and doing an I-cord bind off. I'm not sure that having like the flowy bell sleeves is gonna be super functional, but I have a while before I have to make that decision, so I'll decide that later. I have had this in my stash for a while. I bought it at some point last year, I think early last year, and let me be spring. And I believe I bought this from Lovecrafts online. This is Sirdar yarns by West Yorkshire, and it is a cashmere merino silk. Embers. It is a cashmere merino silk. The color is lilac. So it's 75% extra fine merino, 20% silk, and 5% cashmere. It's this lovely light purple color. These are 50 gram skeins, and there is 116 meters, 127 yards per 50 grams. So I bought 14. I used part of one in my sea glass hat, which I will rip out if I run out of yarn, but I don't think I'm gonna run out of yarn. I think I'll be all right. Hopefully my kind of gauge finagling works out and gets something that I really like the fit of. This is what I have to do to keep her from walking right in front of the camera. Oh, no, it's not gonna work anyway. She's still gonna walk right in front of the camera. snowstorm last night, and it's Sunday, so why not? We were supposed to get like 6 to 11 inches of snow. I think we only ended up with 4, but we already had like 2 or 3 on the ground, so it is very snowy outside and very cold, and I'm not going anywhere. So I am knitting, and my goal today is to finish the body of this sweater. I say finish. What I'm going to do is knit the rest of this, which will not take me very long at all. I'm going to put it on try-it-on cords and set it to the side while I do the sleeves, and then I'll come back. We'll see how much yarn I have left over and how it is with the sleeves on, whether I want to adjust the length or not. And it's so cute. I think that this length that it's going to be would be fine, but I'm just going to do the sleeves first, and then I'll come back and do the I-cord bind off on the body, or make it a little bit longer and then bind off. We'll see. I think I'm going to have a lot of yarn left over, so I'm kind of like, maybe I might as well make it a little bit longer if I can. So we're going to watch some podcasts, and we're going to finish this and then get the sleeves going. Tee is done. Everything is bound off. Well, okay, it's done. It's not done. None of the ends are woven in, and I have not blocked it, and the collar on the back is not sewn down yet, because I'll do that after blocking. But pre-block fit check. Oh, it's perfect. Oh my gosh. Okay, pre-blocking, it's perfect. I'm obsessed with this fit. This is exactly how I wanted it to fit. Here's the problem, we're pre-blocking. I have not blocked this yet. So here's to hoping that it does not grow exorbitantly during blocking. A little bit of length, like in the sleeves and the body, would be fine, but I don't really want, this could grow a little bit, but not too much. I don't really want it to grow this way. I'm not really gonna pin it except for pinning the I-cord and pinning where I need to sew the collar down. Those are the only places I'm going to pin, and it's a beautiful sunshiny day outside, so I'm going to go soak this for a few minutes and then put it outside to block. Hopefully it doesn't grow. I blocked it. The sleeves were like way down here, so I had to rip back and redo the I-cord again because they grew way too much. But we got it fixed now. They hit at a pretty nice length. The yarn is super soft. I love wearing it. It's very warm, but it's not like too warm that I haven't been able to wear it even though it's spring. It's spring in upstate New York. It's very rainy, it's very dreary. We had a couple like really warm days and then we're back down to like 50s and 60s. But I work in an office and it's usually pretty chilly, so I can wear this to work and I have not been too hot yet. So yes, we have the I-cord on the sleeves and the hem. It does roll like a tiny bit, but I just pinned the I-cords down when I blocked and that helped a lot. So if it's rolling and it bothers me, I can always just like steam it real quick with an iron and that should help it lay flat again. I love this neckline detail. Like signature moon set. I love that the V isn't too low. Like I don't have to worry about it pulling down. I have another V-neck that like I have to constantly be pulling it back because the V kind of like sinks a little too low for like work. I love where it sits on my shoulders because I do have a bra on under here and it doesn't like show. And I think that sewing the back neckline down helps a lot with that because it gives it a lot of like structure up here so it's not slipping off my shoulders, which I really like. Because in other V-necks I've had to like crochet in the back, but I think that seam helps a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna show you with a couple of outfits. I've worn this a lot already, but I pulled 2 different bottoms that I've worn it with. I have a couple more, but Alan's asleep upstairs and I don't feel like going upstairs and risking waking him up to get them. So we're just gonna do with what I have down here all ready to go. But yeah, I'm gonna show a couple of outfits. My dogs are very excited. I'm gonna show a couple of outfits that I've been wearing it with. This has already gotten so much use and I definitely think I'm gonna wear it all the time. This is my favorite skirt. I wear it all the time. So I have it tucked in. I also have worn it untucked with this as well for a more like flowy kind of look. So the back is just a little bit longer than the front, but not super noticeable. Just enough that it lays really nicely. And the sleeves hit at like the perfect spot. Okay, so these are just some green cotton pants that I have. They're kind of high-waisted, so you can do like a little French tuck as well. Somebody would like to say hello. So I have several pants that are like this that are either like a cotton or a linen in a bunch of different colors. Like I have like a pastel but a really bright like yellow. I looked very Eastery wearing that, so I loved that. And yeah, so I just have a couple of these like cotton or linen kind of flowy but not like oversized pants that I'll wear it with. I also have worn it with a collared shirt underneath, and I thought that looked really nice as well. I just weighed this because I realized I have not weighed it and put it in my totals for my like yarn in out tracking. It is 569 grams. Okay, so I think that's everything that I wanted to share about my Moon set. I love it so much. I am thinking about making another one already. I also want a tee for myself. I made my mom a Moon set tee, but I want one for me too. More Moon sets in the future, I think. It was such an easy pattern to follow. I really loved making it, and I'm really happy with it. I should have links to everything I talked about. I don't even remember if I have a Ravelry page going for this, to be honest with you. This has been a very long standing project. which I believe I talked about at the beginning, but we won't go into all that. But yeah, I'm so excited that it's done. I've loved wearing it. I've literally worn it so much since I finished it a couple weeks ago. So thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know if you like this kind of like project vlog. I really liked making them so far. I have another one that I'm in the process of for Stolen Silver Spoons Light, which I'm testing for common thread fiber. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully it will be done soon. If you like these project vlogs, let me know. And until we meet again, happy crafting.